Okay, it says Friday, September 8th notes, but this is Monday, September 10th note or homework. So I'm going to do a video on how to do the homework. Make sure you can either follow along, but just don't copy. Make sure you're following along and doing these problems. So this is assignment 8, by the way. So if you're organizing your notebook, this is assignment 8. It follows the solving absolute value notes. Solving absolute value notes. All right. So one thing you need to know about absolute values are there's going to be two solutions when the absolute value of x is equal to a positive number. There's going to be one solution if the absolute value of x is equal to 0. And there's going to be no solutions when the absolute value of x is equal to a negative number. Keep this in mind. If it's ever equal to a negative, you don't have to do any work. It's no solution. So this is your homework key. So, starting out, are the bars isolated? Yes. So we can right now look up here. This is equal to a positive number. So there are two solutions. So we're going to split this up. We're going to have negative side, positive side. So the negative side, the 3x doesn't change. The 3x is in both of these. 3x equals 3x equals. The part in the bars doesn't change. It's the 9 that changes, the outside number. It's either going to equal a negative 9 or it's equal a positive 9. Because absolute values can be negative or positive. So in here it can be 9 or negative 9. So we're going to figure out what x would have to be to make that a negative 9. And we're going to figure out what x would have to be to make this a positive 9. So we're going to solve both of our equations. So one of your answers is negative 3. Or divide by 3. One of your answers is 3. Think about this. Negative 3. What's 3 times negative 3? It's negative 9. What's the absolute value of negative 9? 9. Put a 3 in. 3 times 3 is 9. Absolute value of 9 is 9. So this answer makes it a negative 9. This answer makes it a positive 9. So you need two answers before you're done. So on this one, are the bars isolated? Answer, yes. So the first thing we're going to do is separate it into two sections because it's equal to a positive number. If it's equal to a positive number, there's two solutions. We need to find them. So one of them, so write negative, positive. When I say negative, positive, it's the 1. It's either negative 1 or it's positive 1. It's either going to be negative 1 or it's going to be positive 1. So you take the part that's under the absolute value, b over 5, and set that here and here, and put a big or right there. How do I get rid of a division of 5? To get rid of division of 5, we multiply by 5. So b is equal to negative 5. If you plug a negative 5 in up here, what's negative 5 divided by 5? It's negative 1. What's the absolute value of negative 1? 1. So that makes sense. How do I get rid of a division of 5 again? Multiply by 5. So the 5's cancel and b equals 5. So your answers are negative 5 and 5. Now notice in the first two examples that the answers are positive and negative 3. They're not always the same number. They're not always the same number, so be careful. So for this next one, are the bars isolated? Yes, there's nothing on the outside of them. It's equal to a positive number. If it's equal to a positive number, there are two solutions. So we're going to separate these into two sides. First we have the negative side, then we have the positive side. So we're going to write an or in between them. So when I say negative and positive, I'm talking about the 6, not the part under the bars, the 6. So we're going to have something equal to negative 6 or something equal to 6. That something is the part that's under the bars. So we're going to set negative 2n plus 6 equal to negative 6. And we're going to have negative 2n plus 6 equal to positive 6. And we're going to solve these separately. So starting with this one. How do I get rid of a plus 6? Subtract 6. Negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. How do I get rid of a negative 2? Divide by negative 2. Now, if this was an inequality, I would flip the inequality But this is not an inequality. Now, we can flip equal signs, but the equal signs flipped are still equal signs. So this is n equals positive 6. Circle that. So if I plugged in a 6 right here, what's negative 2 times 6? Negative 12. Correct. Negative 12 plus 6 is negative 6. The absolute value of negative 6 is 6. So that's one of my answers. There's a second answer. So you come over to the second equation, one that's equal to positive 6. Subtract 6 from both sides. That equals 0. Divide by negative 2. 0 divided by anything is 0. So now we're getting two different answers here, which does happen usually. So if you plug in a 0, what's negative 2 times 0? It's 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. Absolute value of 6 is 6. Two answers. Question. Are the bars isolated? Your answer is no. So the first step is to isolate the bars. Get them by themselves. So how do we do that? Get these absolute value v plus 8 by itself. So we're going to get rid of this guy right here. How do we get rid of that? Correct. Add 5 to both sides. So we have the absolute value of v plus 8 equals 7. Okay. Now do you notice how the bars are isolated? Once they're isolated, that's when you separate into your two separate answers. Again, as long as it's equal to a positive number, there are two solutions. So one of these is going to equal negative 7, and one of these is going to equal positive 7. What equals negative 7? This, v plus 8, equals negative 7. V plus 8 also equals positive 7. Because in absolute values, you have two numbers that we're looking for, the negative 7 or the 7. So solve. Subtract 8. V equals negative 15. One of your answers is negative 15. If you subtract 8, one of your answers is negative 1. What do you guys think? You guys doing okay? Okay, take a break. Number 5. Question. Are the bars isolated? Notice that little plus 5 is on the same side as the absolute value bars, so they're not isolated. So your first step is to isolate the bars. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Absolute value of 5x equals negative 9. Uh-oh. What happens? Oh, wait, I'm not right. Sorry, guys. We're subtracting 5, not dividing. Sorry. Subtracting 5, that's 40. There's no uh-oh here. This is 40. My fault. That's equal to 40. As long as it's positive, there's two answers. So we're going to find our two answers. So one of these is going to equal negative 40, and one of them is going to equal positive 40. The 5x equals negative 40, and the 5x equals positive 40. Divide both sides by 5. One of your answers is negative 8. Divide by 5. Positive 8. So this is one of those ones where they have the same answer, but one's positive, negative. That happens if you don't have to, when you get the bars and there's no pluses or minus in the bars, that's when you know your answers are the same. But notice in this one, say there's a plus sign inside the bars. Whenever you have a plus sign, you're going to have two different looking answers. Like this one right here had a plus 8 in the bars. That's why you have two different answers. But in number 1, notice there's no plus sign in the bars. That's why your answers are looking the same. This one didn't have any pluses or minuses. That's why your answers are the same. So like if you're looking at this problem right here, do you see how there's negative 2n in here? There's no pluses or minuses. So there should only, these answers should look the same when you're done. All right, these bars are definitely not isolated. Do you guys see this? There's a lot going on the left-hand side. So I'm going to put a little line here. You got a left side and you have a right side. So if you're going to jail to visit your negative 2 cousin, these are the visitors, and visiting hours are over, who would you get rid of first? The one furthest away. Subtract 5, both sides. So you have negative 8. Bring that negative down. Absolute value of negative 2n is equal to negative 80. Right now this is negative. That's not good. But what happens if I divide both sides by negative 8? Then you have absolute value bar of 2n equals 10. Now it's equal to a positive, and that's okay. Okay, it was negative, but when we divided by -8, remember, do not multiply. You are not allowed to approach, you're not allowed to do anything while the bars are there. If the bars are there, you're not allowed to distribute, you're not allowed to multiply, you're not allowed to do anything. What's in the bars is the prisoners. You are not allowed to do anything with the prisoners if you're a visitor. Once all the visitors are gone and you're just left with the bars, that's when you break out of the cells, basically. You get to go outside and play. So you have your negative side and you have your positive side. But I'm out of room, so I'm going to write it over here. You have your negative side and you have your positive side. Okay? So if you're writing this with the negative, you're going to write, you're getting rid of the bars, -2n equals -10. It's this that changes to the negative. What's in the bars doesn't change. So then this one is -2n equals +10. The 10 is either -10 or +10. But the -2n is -2n on both sides. So what's on the bars is protected. It's the number on the outside that changes to -10 or 10. All right, divide by -2 and n is 5. Divide by -2 and n equals -5. And there's your answers. Are the bars isolated? Answer, no. This 8 is on the bottom. Maybe some 8 is trying to break into the jail from the tunnels below. Here's your people in jail. The 8 visitors down here, but we're going to get rid of the 8. Okay? How do you get rid of a division of 8? Hopefully you're saying multiply by 8. And that's what we're doing right away. So you're going to have the absolute value of 7p plus 4. Those are your bars. The 8 is gone because we just multiplied, and 3 times 8 is 24. Because of the plus sign, you will have 2 different looking answers. So we are going to set this up into the negative and the positive. What's negative? The 24 is not the part in the bars. So equal to -24 equals +24. Negative and positive is the number on the outside. The part that doesn't change is the part in the bars. So as the bars release, that part is unchanged. 7p plus 4, 7p plus 4. So let's subtract 4. 7p equals -28, and p is -4. Over here, subtract 4. 7p equals 20. Of course, this is an ugly answer. Divide by 7, and p is whatever 27th is. Oh, let me look. What is 27ths? 20. Oops, I just said crap. Let me clear that up. 20 divided by 7 is 2.857. We'll say it's about 2.9. You guys okay with that? So it's about 2.9. So your answer is -4 and it's about 2.9. If I was writing this answer, I'd write -4 and 27ths because 27ths is a better answer than 2.9, but I'd accept 2.9. And our last one, isn't it our last one? Oh, it is our last one. So we're going to isolate the absolute value bars. Let me get rid of this. So we have a lot of visitors here. Here's our jailbirds. We have visitor 3s, -3s. We have more visitors over here. First, to get the bars isolated, let's add 3 to both sides. So we have 3 times 3 minus 5r bar equals 21. Again, do not distribute. 3 is not allowed to come in the jail bars. Absolute value bars are not parentheses, so do not distribute. We are trying to isolate the bars, so let's get rid of this outside 3 by dividing by 3. So now we have 3 minus 5r in bars equals 7. As long as this is equal to a positive number, there are 2 solutions. So let's break these up. We have the negative equals -7, and we have the positive equals +7. So the part that's equal to -7 and +7 is this part in the bars. So once you separate into 2 equations, the bars can go away, and the part that's in the bars is unchanged. It's 3 minus 5r, 3 minus 5r. Now we're solving for r. How do you get rid of 3? Correct. Subtract 3. So we have -5r equals -10. And if you divide by -5, r is going to equal, I'm out of room, r is going to equal 2. That's your first answer. Over here, if you subtract 3, negative 5r equals 4, and r is equal to negative 4/5. So your answers are 2 and negative 4/5. So even though this says positive, it doesn't mean your answer is positive. It means you're setting this equal to positive 7. The answer turned out to be negative, that's fine. But the negative positive means set the absolute bars equal to positive 7 and negative 7. Because the definition of absolute value is the distance from 0 to 7 is 7. So it could be 7 to the right or 7 to the left. So the distance of 7, 7, negative 7. 2 and negative 4/5. Those are the answers, and I'm done.